Japanese role-playing games have had a pretty interesting life cycle since their inception. From their humble beginnings on the Nintendo, to their rising popularity the next generation, to their eventual mainstream peak in the late 90s with games like Final Fantasy VII and Pokemon Red and Blue, to their gradual fading into obscurity the following generations, and finally, their resurgence in recent years. Considering JRPGs are my all-time favorite genre, I couldn't be happier about their comeback. It does beg the question though, what's been the best console for JRPGs? Well, in this video, I'm gonna give my completely objective opinion on why I think that honor belongs to the PS1. Nah, for real though, obviously this is just my opinion, so if you disagree, that's totally fine. With that said, however, I do feel I make a pretty compelling case here. And what better way to start that off than showing our channel intro. It features a lot of PS1 RPGs and displays some of their magic. Just sit back and enjoy.
The light is your guide.
The dream is what keeps you going.
The Sony PlayStation. Now see the outstanding technical capabilities of Sony's advanced video game system, and how game developers the world over can now create a stunning new generation of interactive entertainment.
Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is the diverse range of visual styles. You see, the PS1 came out during the experimental 5th generation. While the 4th generation was all 2D and the 6th generation was largely 3D, the 5th generation was a combination of both. We got full 2D, full 3D, and everything in between. You want a 2D overhead RPG like the Super Nintendo? Well, you got Wild Arms, Suikoden 1 and 2, Lunar 1 and 2, Alundra, Tales of Destiny. You want 2D sprites on 3D backgrounds? You got Grandia, Breath of Fire 3 and 4, Xenogears, Wild Arms 2, Final Fantasy Tactics. What about 2D sprites on pre-rendered backgrounds? There's Valkyrie Profile, Star Ocean 2, Saga Frontier. What if you want those same backgrounds but 3D models instead? Well, there's Final Fantasy 7 through 9, Chrono Cross, The Legend of Dragoon, Parasite Eve, Jade Cocoon, Kudelka, and if you want full-on 3D, there's Legend of Legaia, Vagrant Story, Brave Fencer Musashi, Threads of Fate, Guardians Crusade, The Grand Stream Saga. There's also games that don't belong to any of these categories like Legend of Mana, Tales of Eternia, and Saga Frontier 2. Legend of Mana and Saga Frontier 2 in particular have some of the prettiest hand-drawn backgrounds of all time. Like this watercolor style? This is gorgeous, dude. All this goes to say is that there are a lot of visual styles showcased on the PS1. Hell, I'd argue there's even more variety here than current systems. I mean, nowadays we either get a realistic looking 3D RPG, a stylized looking 3D RPG, or a pixelated throwback. The era of the pre-rendered background and fixed camera angles in general is largely gone. I could spend an entire video talking about these and how they get your imagination working in ways that full 3D camera controls take away. In fact, I have before. It's like a 40-minute video. Ultimately though, it's just as legit of a design and an artistic choice as full-on 2D and full-on 3D. Speaking of variety, I also feel the PS1 has the most varied blend of subgenres. For the most part, you can break down JRPGs into 3 types: turn-based, tactical, and action. The Super Nintendo, for example, another common contender for the best JRPG console title, mainly has turn-based RPGs. There are some tactical and action RPGs, just not a whole lot. Now the PS2, another popular contender, has a good amount of turn-based and action RPGs, but not that much tactical. The Switch and the PS4, Okay, these have a lot of variety too, probably even more so, I can't argue that. Variety, just for the sake of variety, isn't automatically a good thing though. If the quality's not there, who cares, right? Well, not only does the PS1 have quality, but it has many of the all-time classics, in all subgenres too. Well, debatably not action, more on that in a bit, but tactical RPGs, for example, you got Final Fantasy Tactics, widely considered to be the greatest tactical RPG of all time. Not too far behind it is Tactics Ogre. By the way, both directed by Yasumi Matsuno. What a legend. Hell, even AI agrees these are the two GOATs. There's also a lot of deeper cut gems too. You got Vandal Hearts 1 and 2, Arc the Lad 1, 2, and 3 via the Arc the Lad collection, Vanguard Bandits, Sayuki Journey West, Cartia The Word of Fate, and I could keep going. I mean hell, even Squaresoft had some lesser known gems like Front Mission 3. Speaking of Squaresoft, I think it's time to address the Bahamut in the room. They played a massive role in the PS1 being as big of a JRPG machine as it was. I genuinely think their catalog on the system is a legitimate contender for a company's best output on any system ever, especially when you take into consideration the non-RPGs too. This video is not about that though, so yeah. But yeah, their whole run in general in the 90s and early 2000s is just the stuff of absolute legend. Focusing on their output of RPGs on the PS1 though, let's take a look here. You got the aforementioned Final Fantasy Tactics and Front Mission 3, Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, Chrono Cross, Xenogears, Vagrant Story, Parasite Eve 1 and 2, Saga Frontier 1 and 2, Legend of Mana, Brave Fencer Musashi, Threads of Fate, Chocobo's Dungeon 2, ports of Final Fantasy 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. Oh, and Chrono Trigger 2? Like, dude, I mean, come on. I'm not even entirely convinced they were normal humans making all this stuff back then, but rather more like superhumans like the Gazelle Ministry. This was all in a span of like 4 years, by the way. Nowadays, we're lucky to even get a few games from a developer in that same time frame. Their PS1 library is so strong that even if you don't count the ports and include all the Japan-only Super Famicom titles that never released here, I still don't think the Super Nintendo can even begin to compare. Just talking Final Fantasy, 4 through 6 and Mystic Quest is a solid showing, but 7 through 9 and Tactics, I mean come on, that takes it. They were, without a doubt, the masters of the PS1. Capcom and Konami were up there too, but Squaresoft, they just took the cake, no questions asked. I mean, this is kind of a tangent, but even outside RPGs, they had fighting games, racing games, a shmup, survival horror, 3D platformer adjacents. They're really only missing a first-person shooter and a 2D platformer, I guess. But yeah, just an absolutely historic run. When it comes to turn-based RPGs, Final Fantasy 7 through 9, Xenogears, and Chrono Cross, I said what I said, you can like both Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross, yes it is possible, are easy contenders for best on the system. However, they aren't the only ones. Another obvious contender for me at least is Grandia. This actually might have the best turn-based combat on the entire system. It is turn-based, however, actions play out in real time, which gives you the ability to interrupt enemies' attacks and things of that nature. This means both timing and positioning play big roles, as you have to account for the time needed it takes to go run over and attack an enemy, the time it takes to cast a spell, and even where you're at on the battlefield as spells have an area of attack. It would get refined a bit in later entries, but even still, this rendition on the PS1 is damn good. What if you want a little more player engagement in your turn-based battles? Well, you got the Legend of Dragoon and Valkyrie Profile. The former requires you to hit precise timing windows to pull off attacks and counters, and the latter requires precise timing as well to maximize combos and the juggling of enemies. Speaking of combos, there's also Legend of Legaia. In this one, you combine left and right punches and high and low kicks together to create special attacks called arts. It's just another really cool take on turn-based combat. By the way, really awesome game in general. Very strong, darker atmosphere, interesting story, it's some good stuff. It's the first serious RPG I ever played and I'll always have a soft spot for it. Breath of Fire 3 and 4, Lunar 1 and 2, Suikoden 1 and 2, and Wild Arms 1 and 2 are probably all known more for their story, setting, and characters rather than their combat. However, they're all still excellent turn-based RPGs. Earlier in the year, we dropped complete retrospectives on the entire Suikoden series and the entire Lunar series, so if you want to hear more about those titles, check those videos out. But yeah, Luca Blight and Galleon from both those respective series are some of the most memorable JRPG villains of all time. Obviously, Sephiroth's a strong contender for that title as well. I'd also put Fu Lu from Breath of Fire 4 up there. This is probably one of the earliest games period that let us play from the perspective of an antagonist. I think it might be the second JRPG ever to do this, only preceded by Dark Half on the Super Famicom. Correct me if I'm wrong. Lizard from Valkyrie Profile is another standout for sure. However, when it comes to a cast of villains, I think Xenogears has given us the best ensemble in all of JRPG history. They all have their own goals and motivations and are also fleshed out. The plot is also one of the grander ones in scope, spanning thousands of years, and it's just an incredible story in general with really mature themes. It's my personal favorite JRPG story of all time. That's another point I want to bring up in the PS1's favor. It gave us some of the greatest stories ever told in the genre. Final Fantasy Tactics and Vagrant Story are some of the best written JRPG stories out there. The Shakespearean dialogue is so good. Vagrant Story in particular was a landmark title in video game localization. Tactics Ogre, Suikoden 2, Vandal Hearts 2, and Valkyrie Profile all have excellent writing as well. If we're talking more of a standard save the world plot, how can we not bring up Final Fantasy VII? Not only one of the most iconic stories in JRPGs, but all of gaming. If you ask me though, I'm more of an FF9 guy myself. Its themes about existentialism and finding purpose in life really resonated with me. And Final Fantasy VIII story? Well, you know, the vibes are immaculate. Wild Arms 1 and 2, Breath of Fire 3 and 4, and Legend of Legaia all have pretty good save the world plots too, I think. If you want something really dark and even horror-esque, there's Parasite Eve 1 and 2, Persona 1 and 2, and Kudelka. All excellent. What if you want something lighthearted that captures the spirit of adventure? Well, Grandia, Lunar 1 and 2, and Dragon Quest VII do that just as well as any game in the genre. Grandia in particular might do it the best. Even more lighthearted than that, with more humor, is Thousand Arms. And even more lighthearted than that, you got Rhapsody, A Musical Adventure, and Guardian's Crusade. There really is a little something for everyone here. Going back to subgenres, I didn't even mention that we also got some roguelikes like Azure Dreams, Chocobo's Dungeon 2, Tornico the Last Hope, and monster-raising games like Monster Rancher 1 and 2, the Digimon World Series, Eternal Eyes, and Jade Cocoon. These are kind of outside this video's scope, but I at least wanted to mention them. What I did want to circle back to with some more focus though, was action RPGs. While we definitely got some quality examples here, Threads of Fate, Legend of Mana, Dragon Valor, Alundra, and Brave Fencer Musashi all come to mind. By the way, we have an hour-and-a-half retrospective over this last one. Check it out if interested. However, I would say in comparison to tactical and definitely turn-based, they do come in third, at least like the more traditional ones. The PS1 didn't really have a Kingdom Hearts or near-level hit, so yeah, fair point against it here. With that said though, if we're counting games like Tales of Destiny, Tales of Eternia, and Star Ocean The Second Story, which I guess, why would we not, then all of a sudden, things are looking a lot better here. I didn't really think about these earlier because their structure is more similar to traditional turn-based RPGs with combat taking place on a different screen. But yeah, they absolutely should count. I think Tales of Destiny is just okay and Tales of Eternia is pretty great, but Star Ocean 2, now this is a classic. This series is still going on to this day, and a lot of people still consider this the best one. If you want to hear why I think that is, we have a 2-hour retrospective on it, so check that one out. The music here, composed by Motoi Sakuraba, is also quite excellent and my personal favorite of his works. And this brings me to the last point I want to make. The PS1 also gave us some of the greatest OSTs in the genre. Nobuo Uematsu's work on Final Fantasy 7 through 9 is just legendary. some of the best music ever conceived in video games. Out of these three, Final Fantasy VIII is actually my favorite. Man, again though, Squaresoft in general just killed it in this aspect. There was also Hitoshi Sakamoto with Final Fantasy Tactics and Vagrant Story, Yoko Shimomura with Legend of Mana and Parasite Eve, and my personal favorite, Yasunori Mitsuda with Xenogears and Chrono Cross. Both are incredible, for sure, but Chrono Cross in particular is legit a contender for one of the all-time GOATs. This and Chrono Trigger. But yeah, between his beautiful score and the gorgeous pre-rendered backgrounds, it helps give Chrono Cross one of the most relaxing, serene atmospheres in all of gaming. Some more overlooked OSTs I'd also put up there with the best include The Legend of Dragoon, really cool otherworldly sound, Breath of Fire 3, a lot of really chill, jazzy, and poppy tunes, Guardians Crusade, yeah, I'm not even kidding, this one has super chill, jazzy beats, and Wild Arms 1 and 2. Just some incredible, Wild Western inspired music. The first Wild Arms is another one we have like an hour and a half retrospective on, so that's a good video to check out if you want to hear more about it. Alright, now that I've explained all my reasons on why I think the PS1 is the best JRPG console ever, I will address the main argument against it. I'm not rocking a permanent nostalgia goggle build, I can't take them off. Man, some people really out here acting like nostalgia goggles are some cursed equipment in a JRPG that you can't remove. But yeah, the thing that holds PS1 JRPGs back the most is the pacing, mainly due to the slow battle animations and the loading times. Even previous generations were better in this aspect due to their simplicity. The PS1 on the other hand though, tried to showcase a lot of the hardware's power at the time with cinematic and visual flair. There's panning around the environments, a lot of unskippable and slow spell animations, and just slow, regular attacks in general. Like, yeah, these look nice back then, but nowadays they just make battles kind of a slog. There are some exceptions. Suikoden 1 and 2 and Final Fantasy VII coming to mind as moving pretty quick, but they are just that, the exception. Most PS1 battles move pretty slow. In all honesty, they probably do move the slowest out of any console. So yeah, if you disagree with this video's title for this reason, that's totally fair, it's a valid point. Thankfully, a lot of recent remasters of these titles have rectified this issue with the fast forward option. Final Fantasy 7 through 9, Final Fantasy Tactics, Tactics Ogre, Saga Frontier 1 and 2, Lunar 1 and 2, Chrono Cross, all did this, and it's awesome. Now if we can just add The Legend of Dragoon, Xenogears, and Breath of Fire 3 and 4 to this list, arguably the games that need it the most, we'll be sitting really good. I'd also add Legend of Legaia and Wild Arms 1 and 2 to that list, however, I'm not too optimistic about those getting remasters. Love to be proven wrong though. All this being said, I think I've painted a pretty good picture on why I feel the PS1 is the best JRPG console of all time. In every category, from gameplay, to music, to story, to characters, to art direction, it gave us some of the finest we've ever seen in the genre. Many of them have stood the test of time and have gone on to become undeniable classics. If you don't agree with the title of the video, that's fine. We all have our own opinions. This was really just an excuse to talk about some of my favorite games. Regardless of where you stand, I think it's pretty easy to see the quality on display here. So yeah, if you want to get lost in a magical and timeless JRPG, then the PS1 can absolutely give you that. And then some, for sure.
Push it in! Work your body, work your body.
ロールプレイングゲームシャドウハーツ
予約すべしプレイステーション
Alright, and that about wraps up this video. Thanks for watching everyone, we hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please either consider hitting that like button or subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. What do you guys think is the best JRPG console? Do you agree with me, disagree, think I'm an idiot? Regardless, let us know in the comments. Also, what's your favorite PS1 JRPG? Let us know about that too. I know there are still a handful of RPGs I didn't mention once, and if one of those is one of your favorite games, then, well, for that I apologize. Man, Brigandine fans typing up the angriest comment right now. Oh yeah, and if you want to talk more JRPGs, consider joining our Patreon to get Discord access. In all the years we've had it, I can without a doubt say this is the most active and engaging it's ever been. We have a lot of great combos on the daily, and some even take some, interesting tangents. We also got monthly raffles, a little bit of streaming, so yeah, if that sounds fun to you, consider joining. As always, just want to give a huge shout out to our Patreon supporters, and of course, an extra special shout out to our top patrons, Chris Carnaccio, Derek Drost, Jam, Jesse Spencer, J-Ho, Joe Bro the Hobo, J Shaw Drums, Jump Rock, Cyano, and Spankwise. All of your generosity and support is very much appreciated. Other than that, thanks again for watching everyone, and hope you have an awesome day. This is Corbin from Gaming Productions. Until next time.
You